Praise the Lord. Good afternoon to each and every one. As we pray this afternoon, please allow me to just recite a couple of words from the Word of God. A report, as it were, given by a great king, Nebuchadnezzar by name, Daniel chapter 4. His words read, Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all people, nations, languages, that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God had wrought towards me. How great his signs and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is a generation or from generation to generation. The interest of time would cause me to skip a couple of verses. The report between was Nebuchadnezzar sharing all that would happen to him, his experience, and all that he could have written and testify about. The end thereof, he would have had a dream, and that dream caused him for a moment to lose his sanity, as it were. And this is the end of his report. The words conclude, Nebuchadnezzar, at the end of the days that I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes unto heaven, and my understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. None can stay his hand or say unto him, What are you doing? The same time my reason returned unto me, for the glory of my kingdom, my honor, and my brightness return unto me, my counselors, my Lord sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom and excelled majestically. Final words, Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and honor the King of heaven, and all whose works are true, and his ways, his judgment, and those that walk in pride, he is able to abase. This afternoon, as we are gathered in this very historic occasion to have our leaders of our land nationally, in every sense of the word, we are honored to have our Prime Minister and those that are representing those cabinet members that are here in these hallowed chambers. This afternoon, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to do acknowledge the power and the name of God. So let's pray, committing all things to him. Father, we thank you for this great opportunity, this historic day where all of our leaders in our land are joined together in this hallowed chamber. We ask but your presence. We ask, just as Nebuchadnezzar reported, your dominion to have your way here in this place. Lord, though it might be a simple gesture, we say thanks be to you, because you do it all things well. And even as, Lord, we have gathered this afternoon, we commit every soul, all of our leaders, our highest leaders in our land, to those that are leading here in Tobago. We commit all into your hands. God, the business that will be conducted here, and all that will be, O God, Lord, defined, refined, and rewritten, God, we do commit to you. We say, you are God over Trinidad and Tobago. And so we commit this afternoon into your hands. In Jesus' name, amen.
Members, guests, you may be seated.
This special sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly was convened for the purpose of the official visit to the Tobago House of Assembly Legislature by the Honorable Kamala Persad Bissessa, SC, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The members are now invited to introduce themselves to the Honorable Prime Minister. Members, kindly stand and state your name, electoral district or divisions where applicable.
Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister. Good afternoon, Madam Presiding Officer. I am Assemblyman Zarisha Hackett, Leader of Assembly Business, Area Representative of the proud District of Bethesda-Lekoto, and the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology.
Thank you very much, Farley Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of Tobago and the representative of Tobago's most beautiful, most sustainable district of Palo Tuvere, Lansomi, Speyside.
Good afternoon, Assemblyman Dr. Faith Brebner for the district known as Bell Garden, Glamorgan, that runs all the way from Goldsboro to Kendall Farm School. Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary with responsibility for health, wellness, and social protection. It's an honor being here this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer, Cabinet Ministers, and my colleagues here in the House this afternoon. I am Councillor Petal Ann Roberts, and I'm the Secretary of Finance, Trade, and the Economy. Madam Presiding Officer, greetings to the Honorable Prime Minister, all ministers, guests. I am Secretary of the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Assemblyman Natasha Charles Pantin, Area Representative of Bagatelle Bacalet, which includes part of Mason Hall, Friendsfield, all right, Uptown, right, several areas, but the name of the constituency is Bagatelle Bacalet. Thank you.
President, good afternoon to the Honorable Prime Minister, my presiding officer, all cabinet ministers, my colleagues. My name is Ian Whitey Pollard. I'm the area representative for Mason Hall, Mariah. I'm the Secretary for Housing/Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development.
Good afternoon all. Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer. My name is Trevor Williamson James. I'm the representative for Scarborough, Mount Grace. I represent the capital of Tobago, where the new port will be built.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer. I am Assemblyman Niall George. I represent the District of Plymouth Blackrock. I am the Assistant Secretary in the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation. I'm also the Deputy Presiding Officer.
Pleasant good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Presiding Officer, government ministers, colleagues in this honorable house, the waving gallery. My name is Wayne Clark, area representative for the District of Lambo Lowlands, and I'm also the Secretary of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. It's an honor to have you here this afternoon.
Good afternoon all. Welcome, Honorable Prime Minister. Good afternoon, Madam Presiding Officer, and of course, the ministers that are here visiting and all my colleagues and those that are here to witness this historic occasion. I am Pastor Terence Baines, area representative for Bethel New Grange, also the Assistant Secretary in the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development.
Pleasant good afternoon to everyone, Madam Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer, all the ministers, members of Cabinet present, and all the members of the House, those in the public space, and those looking online. My name is Sonny Alfred Craig. I am the area representative for the beautiful district of Buku, Mount Pleasant, which includes most of Canaan. I am presently the Assistant Secretary in the Office of the Chief Secretary with responsibility for the environment, climate change, and energy. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Presiding Officer, Madam Prime Minister, members of government, colleagues, visiting guests, pleasant good evening. I am Megan C. Morrison, area representative for the electoral district of Mount St. George Goodwood, which stems from Bacalet Park to a small piece of Goldsboro. It is the most historic district on the island and home to the Prime Minister's residence. I am also the Assistant Secretary of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport.
Good afternoon, Madam Presiding Officer. Good afternoon, Madam Prime Minister. My name is Nigel Tate, a.k.a. Mighty Man, or Man from Yard. I am the area representative for Signal Hill, Patience Hill, and I'm also the Assistant Secretary in the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment, and Sustainable Development, which is a very hard-working division, of course.
Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer, other ministers who have journeyed across the pond to be here in Tobago with us, and of course, my colleagues in this Honorable House. My name is Councillor Orlando Kerr. I'm the Assistant Secretary in the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities, and Rural Development.
Good afternoon, buenos tardes, guten Tag. Madam Prime Minister and other government officials, welcome to the Tobago House of Assembly. This is what a revolution looks like. Take a look at them. We were once on this side, just 3 of us, and look at how many of them now. This is what a revolution looks like. Their voice have become powerful. That says that Tobago is in a good place. I want to welcome you and all your colleagues to the center of the revolution. And while you are here, we hope that you will appreciate our culture, the way we fellowship with each other, and maybe you will give us something that we have longed for. Thank you.
Introduce yourself. Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister. Good afternoon, Madam Presiding Officer, government ministers, colleagues, our guests in the public gallery, and let me especially welcome students from my alma mater, Wim Anglican Primary School. Welcome to this honorable chamber. I am Kelvon Morris, area representative for the most resourceful and resilient electoral district out of the 15 electoral districts in this house. That is the district of Darrell Spring Wim, and I'm also the minority leader. Welcome and blessings to all.
Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Presiding Officer, government officials, colleagues, members in the public gallery. I am Petal Benwa, Minority Councillor.
I now invite Madam Presiding Officer, Ms. Abby Taylor, to officially welcome the Honorable Prime Minister to the Assembly Legislature.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Honorable Kamala Persad Bissessa, SC, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Attorney General John Jeremy, SC, the Honorable Barry Padarat, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister and Minister of Public Utilities, and Member for Couva South, the Honorable Jerlene John, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, and the member for Couva North. The Honorable Saddam Hussein, Minister of Legal Affairs and Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, and the member for Barataria San Juan. The Honorable Sean Sobers, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. The Honorable Devendranath Tanku, Minister of Finance and Minister in the Ministry of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development, and member for Faizabad. The Honorable Dr. Kennedy Sawach Singh, Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development, and Minister in the Ministry of Finance. The Honorable Dr. Lakram Budu, Minister of Health and member for Oropouche West. The Honorable Roger Alexander, Minister of Homeland Security and member for Tunapuna. The Honorable Dominic Smith, Minister of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence. The Honorable Dr. Michael Dowlat, Minister of Education and member for San Fernando West. The Honorable Fali Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, and Mrs. Augustine, Parliamentary Secretary Wilfred Nicholas Morris, in the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs and in the Office of the Prime Minister. Senator Melanie Roberts Rajman, Opposition Senator. Mr. Joel Sampson, Member for Tobago West. Mr. David Thomas, Member for Tobago East. Minority Leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, and members of the Tobago House of Assembly. Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mrs. Denise Toby Kwashi. Administrators, Clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Lincoln Nelson. Former parliamentarians and members of the Tobago House of Assembly. Teachers, students, specially invited guests, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a special good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure and deep pride to welcome you, Madam Prime Minister, to the Tobago House of Assembly Legislature. This is your first official visit as Prime Minister to these halls, and I want to say from all of us here, welcome to the People's House. We often hear of conversations about autonomy, and rightly so. But before we speak of where we are going, I want us to take a moment to appreciate where we stand. These walls, these benches, this very chamber, they hold a story of a people who have been fighting generation after generation to have a say in their own affairs. As Dr. Susan Craig James reminds us, Tobago's history has always been one of resilience and persistence. In the late 1700s, this little island had its own assembly, one of the earliest forms of representative government in the region. But that representation was short-lived, and for much of our history, decisions about Tobago were made somewhere else. Still, our people never stopped speaking up. They never stopped working for a seat at the table. In 1980, when the Tobago House of Assembly was re-established, it wasn't just a legal change. It was an emotional one. It was Tobago saying we are ready to take responsibility for ourselves, and we are ready to shape our own destiny. And this chamber, this very space, became the heart of that promise. Every debate, every motion, every decision made here is a reflection of the hopes of the people who sent us here to serve. When Tobagonians look at this legislature, they see themselves. They see the proof of their voice, that their voices truly matter. So today, Madam Prime Minister, your presence here means more than just a courtesy call. It is an acknowledgement of respect for this institution and what it represents. It is a signal that even as we discuss autonomy, we are doing it from a place of partnership and pride, understanding that Tobago's strength contributes to the strength of Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. These walls are hollowed not because of the furniture or the architecture, but because of the spirit that fills them, the spirit of a people who have journeyed from silence to speech, from oversight to ownership, and from hope to history. Madam Prime Minister, I welcome you to this chamber, to this symbol of Tobago's enduring will and wisdom. May your time here remind us all that good governance is not just about laws, it's about listening, it's about partnership, and it's about building together. Again, welcome to the People's House and welcome to Tobago.
In light of this special occasion, the Honorable Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC, will now address his Honorable House. Madam Prime Minister, may it please you to address this House.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam Presiding Officer, thank you for your kind invitation and your very kind words here today. Honorable Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, Ministers of Government, Members of Parliament, in particular MP for Tobago West and MP for Tobago East, members of the Executive Council, Assemblymen and Councillors, Mr. Ashworth Jack, leaders of business, labour, faith and civil society, public officers and members of the protective services, specially invited guests, and let's make a special welcome to the boys and girls who are here with us, please. Special welcome them. Specially invited guests, as I say, and members of the national and regional media. Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant afternoon to all of you. I sincerely thank you for your very kind words, and let me say, I'm very happy to be here on the greatest small island on the planet. Very happy to be here. Madam Presiding Officer, members of the THA gathered here today with us for one purpose, one common good. I want to pay special thanks to Chief Secretary Farley, who offered this invitation on your behalf, and I was very happy, as I say, to take up that invitation. And we have been working really hard together. So I thank you, Chief Secretary. And I bring warm greetings from the people of Trinidad, of course, and from the Cabinet and the wider government of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a deep joy to be here in our beloved sister island. Can I say it again? Mm-hmm. The greatest on the planet. I'm so overjoyed to be sharing this space with you. And it's a place where there's so much warmth, there's so much grace, and there's that indomitable Tobago love. I felt it from the time we landed at the airport last night, and today you would have been overjoyed. I was inspired by the children at Signal Hill, all the various schools housed there. You were with us, Madam Education Secretary. It was a most amazing thing to witness and to be part of. So that Tobago love always has a magical ability to lift my spirit, to renew my faith, and of course, our nation's strength and beauty. As I said earlier this morning, the Inspired Cultural Program hosted by the Signal Hill Schools, there I witnessed brilliance of Tobago's beautiful children, their talent, their creativity, and their determination. They reminded me why I entered public service in the first place. And that was to build a better nation for our children. A nation where our children's dreams have room to blossom. So today, as we gather here in this chamber, we do so as one nation. We do so as one nation. Two islands, but with one purpose. Side by side we stand, united in our resolve to deliver for Tobago and to deliver for Trinidad. We stand at the dawn of a new era, one that is defined by genuine collaboration, renewed trust and of course, shared progress. After nearly a decade, I would say, I think this marks not just a visit, but what it is marking for me and for all of us is a new dawn defined by genuine collaboration, defined by renewed trust, and defined by shared progress. After nearly a decade, I say, this marks not just a visit, but a new partnership. I repeat, a reaffirmation that Tobago's development is central to Trinidad and Tobago, and that together we move forward stronger than ever. So again, I thank you so much. As mentioned before, this is my first official visit here since becoming Prime Minister in April of this year. And I trust it will not be my last, God willing. I would like to come again. And as we gather in this chamber, you know, we do so as one nation. I said it, 2 islands, one purpose, one vision, one mission. I have come not merely as a Prime Minister, but as a partner to listen with respect, to learn with humility, and to act with purpose. As I said earlier today, I held a most engaging and productive meeting with the Honorable Chief Secretary at his office, Mr. Farley Augustine, and some of the members of his team. I wish to place on record my sincere appreciation for the warm welcome and for the depth of insight the Chief Secretary brought to our discussions earlier today, and we will meet again before the day ends. I can see clearly the love that Chief Secretary Farley has for Tobago. I can see his innovative thinking. I can see his steadfast commitment to the island's progress. This was very evident in every detail of our exchange. Chief Secretary's leadership reflects a new generation of Tobagonian vision, practical, enlightened, and deeply grounded in service to people. That spirit of partnership defines the new era that we want to build together. It is a renewal of trust and appreciation between the central government and the THA. And so, my friends, I say, here we are. As I stand here, the first, and God willing, the second woman Prime Minister of our beloved Republic in this chamber, that was itself born of Tobago's long struggle for fair representation. I'm reminded that history always keeps faith with those who persevere. Today, together, we turn that faith into action, into delivery, and into lasting progress for Tobago and for Trinidad and Tobago as one united nation. Before we look ahead, as Honorable Presiding Officer did, before we just look ahead, I must, with clarity and respect, go back a bit with your indulgence, address the past. Over the last decade, and particularly since the Farley administration, Tobago's governance became the subject of contention, of criticism, and at times misrepresentation. Some born of genuine challenges, others colored by that nice word, politics, and some say politricks, so a bit of all. I feel it is both right and necessary, as this new administration begins its work, that I should set the record straight. Tobago has never sought privilege, only parity. Tobago has never sought privilege, let's remember that. Only parity, only parity. Tobago's voice has always been one of fairness, of inclusion, of partnership. It has not been a voice of rebellion. It has not been a voice of intolerance. It has always been a voice of reason. Tobago's leaders have fought not to divide our republic, but to strengthen our republic through equity and recognition. Under the leadership of Chief Secretary Augustine, Tobago has entered a new chapter of renewal, restoring confidence, rebuilding institutions, and reinforcing reinforcing accountability. Chief Secretary's approach, and together with his entire team, is something grounded in cooperation rather than confrontation, which reflects both pragmatism and vision. I again thank him and his team for their hospitality and steadfast commitment to the people of Tobago. As a daughter of Trinidad and as Prime Minister of both our islands, I stand not to speak for Tobago, but I stand with Tobago, and I want to let you know that. I acknowledge our beloved Sister Az's perseverance. I honor your contributions, and I affirm that our shared future must be built, not in any sense of superiority or distrust, but we must be built side by side on solidarity. Together we will rise. This is the spirit of a new era. It is a spirit grounded in respect and responsibility and results. And I say two islands, side by side, one nation, one purpose, one vision, and one mission. It is from that same spirit of renewal that we remember that Tobago has always been the co-author of our national story. From colonial resistance to independence, the people of this island have insisted that destiny must be shaped with the people and for the people. Each time we raise our flag, or recite our national pledge, or sing our national anthem, we honor the people of Tobago who demanded fairness, who demanded dignity, who demanded a voice in the national space. I say that standing here today, in this assembly, born of that struggle, I truly feel deeply moved to affirm for the record Tobago's lasting contribution to the democracy of our beloved land, Trinidad and Tobago. At the dawn of modern democracy stood Alfonso Filbert Theophilus James, I hope I pronounced it correctly, James, APT James as we know, Tobago's first elected representative to the Legislative Council in 1946. And he was the father of modern Tobago representation. He pressed for more than one seat for Tobago. He pressed for a place on the Executive Council. He pressed for a permanent voice on the Estimates Committee. He argued tirelessly for roads, electricity, sea, air links, better health, better schools, better support for agriculture, for fisheries, and early investment in tourism. Though he passed away, some of you may recall, months before independence in 1962, his vision has endured. It is fitting that the Prime Minister stands here today in an assembly his advocacy inspired to affirm that Tobago's cause remains a national cause and that his dream of equal participation continues to guide our beloved land. Indeed, that dream was rekindled on 23rd September 1980, when President Sir Ellis Clark assented to Act number 37 of 1980 to re-establish the Tobago House of Assembly, this very THA. When it was inaugurated 4th December that year, the late Arthur N.R. Robinson, one of the most pioneering and visionary leaders of our nation, our region, and the wider world, he was elected the first chairman of the THA, you may recall. In that moment, Tobago reclaimed not only an institution, but Tobago reclaimed its rightful place in the governance and conscience of our nation. Despite economic hardship and funding delays, the Assembly still delivered key road links across the island, water expansion projects, new community centers, new health centers, and of course, facilities constructed to support tourism, to support the Tobago Heritage Festival, and of course, your recently concluded very successful carnival celebrations here in Tobago. I told Chief Secretary, I think one day Tobago will overtake Trinidad in your carnival celebrations. And we will help you if we can in that regard. And why I say that? Because your product is not only the carnival, which we have, but your product is this beautiful paradise islands you have, you know. This place is so beautiful, but many of my, it's so clean, it's so peaceful, and it's so green. So your product is both the jumper for the carnival, but also just a piece of the beauty of this greatest little island on the planet. Thank you so much. So, I say, standing here today in this assembly, born of struggle, that I moved, as I say, to affirm what I think we all know and what we must believe in. So, my friends, as I close, there are a few more points I really would like to make. I know I don't have the rest of the day, but there's a lot more I would like to share with you. Here we are, Mr. Robinson, the statesman. It would be remiss of me, standing here in this chamber, that once carried Mr. Robinson's voice, not to reflect more deeply on what Mr. Robinson's example truly means to us today. A son of Tobago and a statesman of the Caribbean, he transformed conviction into policy and principle into action. He showed us that integrity is not an ornament of leadership, but it is its foundation. And even a small nation can help shape the conscience of the world. You may recall that his advocacy for justice, constitutional reform, and the creation of the International Criminal Court made Trinidad and Tobago not merely a participant in global affairs, but a pioneer in global affairs. And we must always remain very proud of that son of Tobago. The light of his example illuminated the path I would one day walk. Many of you may know, some may not. Ashworth and I go back a long way, Ashworth Jack, Watson Duke, many of you. His example illuminated the path that I would one day walk. In 1987, during the administration that Mr. Robinson led, I began my own journey of public service when Mr. Robinson, then Prime Minister of our nation, appointed me the first woman alderman to what was then the St. Patrick County Council in Sapara. That is where I began my public service under the tutelage and wisdom of Mr. Robinson back in the day. That single act of inclusion by him, visionary and courageous in its time, opened a door not only for me, but for many women who would follow. It affirmed that leadership is not about privilege or power, but about trust, about opportunity and faith in the potential of others. From that moment forward, my understanding of public life was forever shaped by the principles that guided him. And these are some of those. That service must be grounded in conscience, that unity grows from respect, and the strength of our nation lies in the dignity we afford to every citizen. I was also fortunate to be in a cabinet, my first time in cabinet, with Mr. Robinson in 1996. That is the year we passed Act number 40 of 1996. And that is the same act which today governs the operations of the THA, passed then with Mr. Robinson, myself, and others in that cabinet in 1996. So when I stand here before this assembly, that once echoed with the voice of Mr. Robinson, I do so not only in tribute, but also in gratitude, compelled to record for posterity the truth that Tobago's enduring leadership has helped to shape not only our democracy, but also my own journey of public service within it. We also remember the late Ho-Chi Charles, former Chief Secretary. Just recently on Republic Day, I had the honor to pay tribute to Mr. Charles with the highest award from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, the RTT, and that was in Republic Day 24th this year, September. Mr. Ho-Chi Charles was a fearless defender of Tobago's autonomy. And it is on his insistence on fairness which reminds us that unity does not require uniformity. Unity does not require, as I said, uniformity. What it requires is respect, mutual respect. That lineage of leadership continues in Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, a man of clarity, a man of compassion, and a man of conviction. And I might pause for a moment. We may not always agree with each other, but at the end of the day, we are going down the same pathway, we're walking down the same road, and it's the same journey that will lift Trinidad and Tobago and Trinidad side by side. So, Chief Secretary, through your advocacy for timely funding, transparency and collaboration, trust between the Assembly and my central government, I think, has been restored, or we are well on the way to restoring that trust. I again thank Chief Secretary and his team for their gracious welcome, constructive engagement, steadfast commitment to Tobago's progress. Together with the 2 Tobago MPs in our Parliament, in the House of Representatives, from your party here, majority party here in this DHA, there is really a steadfast commitment to growing side by side together. The Tobago's voice remains strong in the national chorus of unity and delivery. And that spirit of partnership is not new. During my previous term, 2010-2015, I tried my best to make sure that Tobago was a national priority from day one. In September 2010, I met with the Chief Secretary then, Mr. Orville London, at Calder Hall. He was a leader from an opposing party, yet he was a son of Tobago, and he was a very civil person. Our relationship was respectful and focused on results. Together, we proved that collaboration delivers. In April 2012, you may recall, I commissioned the Scarborough General Hospital, which had been down for the longest while. The cost overruns. I don't want to go back into all of that, but I was proud that it took this little lady from Trinidad to commission the Scarborough General Hospital. That was a $735 million investment in Tobago's healthcare. Caribbean Airlines also, during that first term, modernized the air bridge. In 2014, the MV Superfast Galicia strengthened the sea bridge. And of course, in 2011, we set up the integrated learning campus here in Tobago. So my respectful view, and with all humility, is that during 2010 to 2015, Tobago progressed. And now from 2025 to 2030, we partner together that Tobago will progress and Trinidad will progress side by side together. So today, that same spirit of cooperation has taken root. Under my new administration, respect is no longer just a word in our politics, it is a governance practice. For the fiscal year 25 to 26, recently concluded budget, Tobago has received TT $3.724 billion, which is about 6.3% of the national budget. This is the largest allocation in history to Tobago. It is the largest allocation in our history. And for the first time in more than 10 years, every cent, we're working to make sure every cent is being released in full, on time, and according to parliamentary appropriation. We are working to make disbursements quarterly, en bloc, and in advance, keeping with the law. Chief Secretary Farley has described this as a step in the right direction, and I wholeheartedly agree. These actions speak louder than any promise. They show that my government's commitment is to fairness, accountability, and partnership. The business community has also welcomed this change, seeing in it a new era of prediction and trust. My previous tenure taught me some very important lessons. That when Tobago is treated with respect, Tobago responds with results. When we govern with consistency and integrity, confidence follows. This is how we strengthen the bond between our two islands through steady, reliable delivery. Time does not permit me to share the full breadth of my government's plans and policies to partner with Tobago side by side, but I cannot be here and not share with you some of them. I'll give you a powerful glimpse, as it were, a fraction that speaks volumes in my respectful view. Even this brief account shows that Tobago is once again advancing with purpose, backed by action, delivery, and unwavering commitment to progress. Healthcare close to home. I commissioned the Scarborough Hospital. Right now, Scarborough Hospital remains the island's center of care. I'm advised by my Minister of Health that the cardiac cath lab is being recommissioned, and that's a very important cath lab to have on the island. The government of India has promised us some sea ambulances. I'm still awaiting them, but I know you'll be very happy that should your loved ones here fall ill, that we will have the sea ambulance right away to take them across and bring them back. So I look forward to that happening. And I'm on the case of my Minister of Foreign Affairs to make sure we get those sea ambulances at the earliest. So the cath lab here, emergency, transport, telemedicine, and specialist recruitment are expanding, working to expand access. Public safety and security. TT 5.5 million is being invested in Tobago's safety network to start with. A new mounted and canine branch is being built at Shivan Hall, and the anti-crime unit at Old Grange is being upgraded. The Mount St. George Police Youth Club, I'm told, is being refurbished. Defense and Coast Guard facilities and the Crown Point Fire Station are being modernized. Meanwhile, my government supports the idea of there being a localized police force in Tobago. In the same way that our municipal corporations in Trinidad benefit from such arrangements. I'm advised by the Commissioner of Police and the Chief Secretary discussed this matter with the Commissioner when he was recently on the island. We will work with you to give you your own police unit here. Justice and community empowerment. Another legal aid officer will be sent here to serve in Scarborough. Mobile legal aid units are set to begin in 2026. Public defender and probation services are being expanded here for Tobago. Power, water, and infrastructure. We came in last night, and on the news last night, I'm told, some persons in Tobago were being interviewed by media, of course, and asking, what would you like most? You know what many said? Do you have any idea? It was water. Of course, there weren't many other things, but one of the priority areas was water. Water. Water is life. Water is life. My own constituency of Saparo, I am advised by Wasson, the Minister of Public Utilities, is the worst constituency when it comes to water distribution. Maybe they were punishing me and my constituents, but it's the worst in the entire country, Tobago and Trinidad. I hope that he plans to do something about that. The people on the Claude Noel Highway are being restored. WASA projects at Goldsboro, how do you pronounce it? Goldsboro, Bell Garden, Hermitage, and Study Park will secure round-the-clock water supply. The WASA Authority will invest in key development projects in the island of Tobago, including the construction of a desalination plant in Hermitage, Charlottesville. I think my Minister JJ is from Charlottesville originally, and I think Chief Secretary tells me his wife is from Charlottesville. So they will all be very happy, all the people there, as we do these desal plants there. And the feasibility of another one in Study Park is being considered to meet the growing water demands of the island. It is intended to move the baseline supply level in Charlottesville and environs from a 24/1 supply to a more acceptable level over time. So last night, when we came in, we had something to eat, and together with us was a very high official, Mr. Chris Sinclair, others who were there. He will help us get the money to build the desal plant in Tobago. So let's work together. Water is vital to life. So I talked to you about that. Education and training from every 4-month student. This thing hurts me a lot. Huh? When I left office in 2015, every child from Form 1 to 5 had what? A laptop. Every child, because we gave it every year. So for 5 years, right up. And then I don't know what happened to that project. I don't know why it was abandoned. And today I'm very proud that God has given me this job again, showed me the way that every 4-month student in this academic year will get a laptop, every single one. So we have teachers being trained in AI and digital literacy. Dominic Smith is here, Minister. For the first time, we created history again because we now have a Ministry of AI. And that is going to make the ease of doing business faster, better, and will encourage more investors to come. We need investors. We need them to come. We need to improve the ease of doing business in the public service and elsewhere. So we are working there. I'm talking about education and training. Authority for Staff and Risks. Now, I'm told with the THA, is that Education Secretary? Yes, with the THA. Recently, we transferred the entire process for teachers to gain approval for sick leave from the Ministry of Education. We transferred it to the THA. You can imagine you want to take a few days sick leave, and you have to send that down to somewhere in Port of Spain or somewhere. So that has now been transferred, and this is where we have to delegate some more functions. We have to delegate back to Tobago. We have to delegate. And the new NTA-THA agreement will assess training needs, and UTT's Kendall Farm will serve as a certified training site. Some things in the area of education, of course, there's a lot more. Minister of Education is here with us. Housing and planning. When I got this information from my Minister of Housing, MP David Lee, it stunned me. The documentation that he sent to me is to do with a project you are familiar with here, the Riseland project. Are you familiar with that? The Riseland project at Carnby. They shut the entire project down. The IDB had saved, funded $20 million to start the work. And do you know why they shut it down and why you didn't get the money, Chief Secretary? You know why? They were moving the project to somewhere in Trinidad. They were taking money as a project funded by the IDB for Tobago to put it in Trinidad. Now, I don't mind things like that. I am from Trinidad. But fair is fair. Equity is equity. Parity is parity. And fair is fair. Today, I want to announce that project is coming back to Riseland in Tobago. And we will begin with TT $20 million that was allocated for the infrastructure. We begin with that in this fiscal year. So that's part of the housing project, and of course there'll be more. Let's talk about land tenure. Minister Saddam Hussein is here somewhere with us. And you would have seen that recently, oh yes, oops, all right. Recently I did something and people thought I was crazy. Maybe right sometimes, we all get a little off. And I put everything related to land in one place. And that's a tremendously good thing. So the Ministry of Land and Legal Affairs, it was Legal Affairs before, all land taxes, land deeds was in the Ministry of Legal Affairs, but the lands were in agriculture. You understand? The mapping was somewhere in finance, I think. The surveying was somewhere else. It was just, that's why when you want to get your deed, you want to get a lease, it takes forever. It takes forever. So I put all these things under one ministry. And it's because, you see, for anybody, anyone from Trinidad or from Tobago or from Trinidad, land represents one of the most valuable resources in Trinidad and Tobago. I'd say you could put that in the bank, You could get your loans, you could get your mortgages, land. That is your collateral. And it's for this reason, the serious hardship being experienced here in Tobago by people are unable to provide proof of ownership of property, held in their families for decades, yes, has had the attention of successive administrations. Last time I was here, I remember I came to Tobago. Mr. Sam said the RGD did remind him of this. And I remember this very old man. I can remember as if it was today. And I gave him his lease, and that man cried. He cried because it was like pulling teeth in order to deliver the deeds, the leases here for the people of Tobago. So here we are. People in Tobago unable to provide proof of ownership for property, held in their families for decades, has had the attention, as I say, over and over and over. The crisis first came about, I am told, with the onslaught of Hurricane Flora here in Tobago, which struck Tobago in September 1963, and which destroyed land records traditionally kept by Tobagonians in their homes. My cabinet has already begun to address this issue, as I said, with the creation of this new ministry dedicated to improving land administration throughout TNT. Further, my cabinet, in conjunction with the THA, is also committed to undertaking the following. 1, establishing a robust RPA applications unit at the RGD's department here in Tobago. B, staffing and outfitting of the Service and Mapping Division in Tobago. The subsidizing by the THA of the legal costs of the application through the provision of legal assistance for the preps for the RPA applications, real property applications. Further, reviewing existing legislation to streamline and modernize the RPA application process, consulting with the judiciary to review the judge's guidelines for RPA applicants. So we are working with you. We will fix it here together with you in Tobago to get you your land deeds, your land leases, so you have something for your children and their children and your grandchildren down the road. That is your wealth, your piece of land. I thank the many people of Tobago who have endured this hardship for their patience. And I want to assure you of my commitment to work with the THA to bring this suffering to an end once and for all. Sport, youth and inclusion. New pavilions at Blackrock and Mount St. George. Lighting upgrades and major facilities at the Dwight York Stadium track. And of course, sport caravans and Special Olympics, coaching and expanding inclusion. Culture, excuse me, and the creative enterprise. The THA Festival, Heritage Festival, we all know. Blue Food Festival, I hope you continue to preserve this and identity and create income. The THA Carnival, I've already said, maybe when I go back home, some people will not be happy with me saying Tobago may outstrip Trinidad with Carnival, but hey, side by side we grow. If you grow, we grow. And if we grow, you grow side by side. Digital government. TT Pass, government linked TT. And GovPay TT will provide secure, cashless public service. TT Gov Cloud Access TT centers will extend digital access across the island and the islands, across the islands. The THA has been given the authorization by the Ministry of Finance to run ahead with the Integrated Financial Management Information System. I am happy that my government in just 6 months can deliver today something that you have long waited for. I am very happy in just under 6 months. I have a very special document for Chief Secretary Farley and all of you in this THA. And this is something that will give you the means to make money. This will give you the means to earn foreign exchange. And therefore, they can't say, poor boy Tobago, come and begging poor girl Sapari. No, no, no. This will help you. I hold in my hand today, Farley, Chief Secretary. This is an export license. export license for Study Park Quarry. This license will give Study Park Enterprises Limited an opportunity to further market your products regionally and provide opportunities to generate much needed foreign exchange. So, with your leave, Madam Presiding Officer, can I present this to Farley before I continue my speech?
Great fight. Thank you very much.
You deserve this. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Chief Secretary? Okay. Well, let's come to some more important matters. But money first. So I am so happy if you can make some more money for the people of Tobago and for Trinidad in foreign exchange as you use this export license to export, this export license to export. What is yours? The aggregate out of Study Park. If you were doing that all this time, you might have been richer than some other places, which will remain unnamed. Let's get to autonomy and the way forward. The THA, acting on behalf of the people of Tobago, has advocated for significant constitutional reform to increase Tobago's authority over its own internal affairs. The primary intent of this reform is to formally acknowledge Tobago's unique identity, sovereignty, while at the same time preserving the unity and sovereignty of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I say again, we must stand side by side, side by side. My government stands firm in its commitment to Tobago's right to meaningful self-government and self-determination with a strong and united republic. My government, as I say, I do not see this as a favor being granted to you. This is not a handout, it's not a favor, but it's a duty that is honored and is grounded in equality, in respect and shared purpose, side by side. Tobago must have the freedom to shape its development while remaining a full and valued part of the national family. This autonomy is not separation. It is participation with power, backed by predictable funding, joint planning, and transparent governance that treats Tobago's priorities as national priorities. Our goal is simple and enduring. One republic, two islands, one people moving forward together in trust, in dignity, in purpose, toward a common prosperous future. These proposed constitutional amendments are designed to achieve several objectives. Let's start. One, to grant Tobago legislative, Chief Secretary, legislative and executive control over issues related to Tobago's internal development. Further, to give the THA the authority to establish a governance structure adapted to the island's specific needs. Yet further, to secure fiscal autonomy for Tobago, including a fair and equitable share of national revenues. And further, to establish clear dividing lines regarding the jurisdiction and responsibilities of the central government and the THA. These are just some of the issues that we have been discussing and that we will continue to work forward. So in short order, we will develop a fair and transparent mechanism to allocate a portion of national revenues to Tobago in accordance with an agreed upon fair share model. This equalization model in the first instance will allow for the moving away from the current population percentage-based budgeting for development, but will move instead to percentage-based budgeting for development to a project-based budgeting. So from population-based budgeting, which changes, fluctuates, and so on, we are looking at project-based budgeting. This will guarantee larger sums from the IDF, Infrastructure Development Fund, from the PSIP, to fund THA-approved strategic development planning. Interestingly, in 2013, some of you may remember, I offered Tobago 8% of the national budget. I brought a bill in 2013 to the Parliament in my first incarnation as Prime Minister, and the then opposition PNM party walked out on it. Then that same opposition turned into government some years later. They offered you what, 6.8% or something. We did not support it based on discussions we had with the people of Tobago. We did not support that bill. So currently, 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 the DRC recommendation is 4.03% to about 6.9%, okay? We must move away from that range and just, what I said, establish for Tobago a fair share that we can work together. The PNM misled Tobagonians, so I don't know if you all know that. Some of them. They said that they had offered 6 point whatever percent and so on. They offered it when? Years ago. They said that they want to give Tobago more money, and they brought a bill, which the one we rejected, of course. Let's be real. You do not need a bill in Parliament to give Tobago more money. And we proved it. We proved it. Did you see I bring a bill, whether 20, which year, to improve your allocation? No. No. We come back to right is right, fair is fair, parity, side by side. So as I close, again, my Minister of Finance was very proud of himself in the way we work with the budget. But I want to thank my entire cabinet for the work they've been doing. We've been working as a team to put forward that budget. It was not easy. You may know or may not know, we found a treasury that was empty. And we have been scrambling each day, but God is great. Each day we are scrambling to put the ends together, to put the monies together, to survive 1 month to the next until the new budget came in, and that budget came through, and God is great. We will work together. So as I close, today I affirm this truth. Tobago's story is one of endurance. It is one of unity, and it is one of purpose. And it is proof that even in the face of neglect and adversity, the spirit of a people can never be dimmed, can never be diminished. That is your story. And we stand here, we stand not as two islands divided by water. We stand together as one nation, bound by faith and destiny, where we put God in front and we walk behind. My friends, today, the American poet and civil rights visionary James Baldwin once said, and let me quote for you, "There is never a time in the future in which we will work out our salvation. There is never a time in the future in which we will work out our salvation. The challenge is in the moment, and the time is always now." Now is the time. Now is the time. My friends, my brothers and sisters, the time is truly now to build together, to deliver together, and to rise together. My government stands side by side with you all, ready to turn partnership into progress and progress into opportunity for every Tobagonian. Let us go forward, side by side. Two islands, as I said, one nation. Let us go forward side by side. Two islands, one nation, one purpose, one vision, and one mission. That our two islands as one nation be united in hope to work together. My friends, as the tides meet the shores of Tobago, the same tides meet the shores of Trinidad. As the tides meet the shores of Tobago and Trinidad alike, May our shared journey remind us that the strength of a nation is not found in its borders. The strength of a nation is found in the hearts of its men and women, of its citizens who choose every day to walk together as one people. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago. May God bless Tobago. And may God bless the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you, but let me remind you, the anchor holds. The anchor holds. I thought you would like that. So let's hold the anchor together. Let's journey forward. Forward ever, as the Labour people tell us. Backward, never. God bless you, and I thank you.
I now invite the Honourable Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Farley Augustine, to respect words of thanks.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. Allow me to acknowledge present in the House today the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bissessa, SC, MP, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Senator the Honorable John Jeremy, SC, government ministers and other parliamentarians. Special welcome to the members of Parliament for Tobago East and Tobago West, Opposition Senator, Ms. Abby Taylor, Presiding Officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, Minority Leader, and other members of the Tobago House of Assembly, all former parliamentarians and former members of the Tobago House of Assembly who are present, Ms. Natasha Barrow, Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister and Head of the Public Service, Mrs. Denise Toby-Quashie, Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Carl Murray, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Central Administrative Services, Tobago, administrators, Mr. Lincoln Nelson, Clerk of the Assembly, special invited guests, especially our pupils, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pride and gratitude to stand before the Assembly today to lay on the records of this House expressions of gratitude. Expressions of gratitude, firstly, to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Prime Minister, you were sworn into office on the 1st day of May 2025. That is exactly 6 months, 1 week, and 3 days ago. In that time, Madam Prime Minister, we first met on the very evening that you were sworn in, after you were sworn in. Then we met on the 27th of May. We met pre the budget, and we met pre this visit. In that time, Madam Prime Minister, your government oversaw a fiscal mid-year review, a budget, an SOE, and, might I say in jest, rumors of war. In that time, Madam Prime Minister, you have already begun to chart a course of purposeful leadership, one that speaks to inclusion, dialogue, and trust between the people of both islands. Tobago stands equally strong and equally in the lead with Trinidad. This visit, this moment, allows us to reaffirm that we are one nation, two distinct islands, two distinct histories, each with our own cultural nuances. In fact, Madam Prime Minister, today you spoke in the oldest parliament in this country of Trinidad and Tobago. This year, this house, this parliament, marks 200 years since there was an assembly here in Tobago. 200 years. And so I know, while there is an unconscious urge to always think that the bigger, the better is in Trinidad, when it comes to parliamentary democracy, Tobago certainly stands as a leader. You ended with poetry, and perhaps I should share from E.M. Roach, a well-known Tobagonian playwright and poet, who in his seminal work, The Flowing Rock, says, "Oh man, your roots are tapped into this soil. Your song is water, wizard from these rocks." Close quote. These words are not mere poetry, they are prophecy. They remind us that leadership, just like life, must draw its nourishments from the very ground on which we stand. Madam Prime Minister, while I express gratitude for your visit, I wish to take the opportunity to remind respectfully of the following, some of which you mentioned in your speech. That the question and concern surrounding Tobago's autonomy and our right to self-determination will forever remain a question and concern until we fix a historical injustice. As a matter of fact, it was in this very house the then governor said, after the house agreed, the last motion before this house was dissolved to make way for joining with Trinidad. In that motion, the leaders of Tobago then said, "We will join, not willingly, but if it doesn't work out, we will leave and come back." We are happy that from all indications that we will settle an historical injustice and there won't be a need to leave. I remind respectfully that all we have always asked for is a just and fair share of the national budget for development. And I'm happy you expressed that insofar as Tobago's support through the PSIP. I remind respectfully of your words that unity does not require uniformity. And perhaps I should apologize in advance, because sometimes in my youthful exuberance, my disagreement may not always come out in polite words. But certainly, if there is disagreement, you will hear. You also said that when Tobago is treated with respect, Tobago responds with results. Respect is key. I must challenge you, therefore, Madam Prime Minister, and your cabinet colleagues who are all here, that as you return to cabinet, that we have made preparations for the transferal of town and country planning to Tobago, and we very much expect it this year. I can confirm, Madam Prime Minister, that subsequent to meeting with Minister Saddam and the team from the RGD department, the Chief Administrator and the Office of the Chief Secretary, we have already begun constructing that office that will carry a single purpose. And that purpose will be to make it effortless for Tobagonians to have title deeds for their properties. We expect that office to be opened within a 2-week period from this date. Madam Prime Minister, I wish to also remind that languishing in the Parliament since November of 2020, we can track the years, is a marine park bill that will accord unto the people of Tobago the ability to police our marine parks around the island. That was a bill sent down to Parliament. We were seated on the other side. Those days I was still seated alongside my good friend from Roxborough, Argyle, on that side. We supported the bill. It was sent down to Parliament from a PNM-led THA to a PNM-led central government, and it never saw the light of day. So let this TPP-led Tobago House of Assembly to the UNC-led central government find a way to do what they could not do. That matter is critical to our tourism product. I must also remind you, Madam Presiding Officer, the issues surrounding our security. For a long time, that's the 6th schedule item, and for a long time, we have bemoaned the fact that our borders remain pretty porous. And as a result, drugs and guns make their way onto and through our shores. We have unfortunately seen some young Tobagonians getting caught up to the extent that they end up being imprisoned in other Caribbean territories while plying that trade. We have to work even harder, and I see the buttress of a Minister of Homeland Security here with us today. We have to work even harder to ensure that we keep Tobago as peaceful and as beautiful and as secured as it is now. The other issues will be transmitted to the Parliament through our members of Parliament. And so, Madam Prime Minister, members of Cabinet, members of government, members of the Parliament, we thank you for choosing your collaboration with us in this chamber. We look forward to strengthening the bonds of collaboration on matters that affect our everyday lives. We look forward to how we can partner in ensuring relationships between Trinidad and between Tobago and the central government grow not from tension, but from trust, not from distance, but from a shared destiny. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, and one more thing. I did open the envelope, Madam Prime Minister, because I wanted to make sure it was not a dummy check or a blank envelope contained therein. And I'm happy that I can display and show a copy of the export license for the Stolly Park Quarry, Stolly Park Enterprise Limited. Application made since 2022. And one will think, as we say in Tobago, that if you have a brother in the mango tree, you will eat. But sometimes you have to just depend on a stranger to give the kind gesture that your own will not give to you. On behalf of the people of Tobago, thank you very much. And to end as you ended, we do assert that between these two main islands, Tobago will forever remain the smaller of the two. We won't be able to go much larger geographically. But when I think of a ship, one of the smallest but yet most important component of a very large ship is a very small anchor. See this island Tobago, this little island Tobago, as the anchor to Trinidad and Tobago. We will determine smooth sailing, safe anchorage, but above all, Trinidad and Tobago's progress will only happen once Tobago's progress is anchored down in the national parliament. I thank you for visiting us. Thank you for joining us on the thrust towards making Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you.
The Leader of Assembly Business, Assemblyman Zorisha Hackett, will now adjourn the House.
Madam Presiding Officer, I now beg to move that this House now stands adjourned to Thursday, 6th November at 10 a.m.
Now stands adjourned to Thursday, 6th of November at any particular time, 10 a.m. All in favor say aye. Aye. I'm sorry. Any against say no? The ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned to Thursday, 6th at 10 a.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite you to stand as the Honorable Prime Minister and the presiding officer depart the chamber.
Presiding officer, Ms. Abby Taylor, they're now exiting the chamber where the Honorable Prime Minister will sign the visitors' book located on the outside of the Assembly Legislature. So we just heard from Chief Secretary, the Honorable Fali Augustine, echoing the sentiments of the Honorable Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, for working together and respecting each other. High on the Chief Secretary's agenda was the topic of autonomy, the regularization of land titles, and of course, working collaboratively with Tobago to achieve its goals. The Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our Prime Minister, spoke passionately about unity, partnership, and renewed collaboration between Trinidad and Tobago. Describing the occasion as a new dawn, she reaffirmed her government's commitment to Tobago's development, pledging to listen with respect, learn with humility, and act with purpose. As she signs the visitor's book, the Prime Minister underscored that autonomy does not mean separation, but rather a framework that grants Tobago greater legislative and executive control while preserving national unity. She emphasized that Tobago's cause remains a national cause, noting that Trinidad and Tobago must always stand side by side, not one over the other. During her special address, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar highlighted renewed trust and appreciation between the central government and the Tobago House of Assembly, following what she described as purposeful discussions with Chief Secretary of Tobago, the Honorable Falia Augustine. And as a tangible sign of partnership, she presented the Chief Secretary with an export license for the Studley Park Quarry, enabling the Studley Park Enterprise Limited to generate additional revenue for Tobago. The Prime Minister is being presented with a token of appreciation by the presiding officer, Ms. Abby Taylor. Those are just some of the students who were in the public gallery during the special sitting, now taking a photo with the Prime Minister and the presiding officer. As she exits the Assembly Legislature, the Prime Minister is expected to meet with the Chief Secretary, well, the Prime Minister and the Attorney General. They're expected to meet with the Chief Secretary to further discuss Tobago's autonomy. Additionally, Cabinet Ministers will engage in meetings with their respective line secretaries of the Tobago House of Assembly. As she addresses members of the media on the outskirts of the Assembly Legislature building, today's visit underscores the importance of collaboration between the national government and the Tobago House of Assembly. And on the topic of autonomy for Tobago, historically, Tobago has often called for greater equity, autonomy, and visibility in national decision-making. So today's visit represents an opportunity to address some of those long-standing concerns.
Does the government plan to look at the issue of the impact of the situation surrounding U.S. and Venezuela, will its impact on the fishing industry in Tobago?
You know, I saw some international media said that Trinidad and Tobago is a nation of fishermen. Nothing is further from the truth. We have fishermen, we have other industries, we have other forms of income, and the impression is being given that it's fishermen of Trinidad and Tobago.
So earlier today, the Prime Minister visited Signal Hill Secondary School, where she met with students not just of the Signal Hill Secondary School, but other schools in Signal Hill, including the School for the Deaf.
So I totally disagree with the narrative of what I saw. We're exposing our nationals to danger. As Fabi said earlier, there's war and there are rumors of war. There is no war. And it is not a target. The targets are narco traffickers, gun runners, human traffickers, those are all targets. And you have seen some interviews I gave, some responses I gave to the media scouts and showing that there has been the drug decrease in Trinidad, the prices for the rappers. So it's increasing because why? Because they're quitting them on
Some are saying that you are trying to separate from CARICOM and
nothing is working. Nothing is working. We remain members of the CARICOM. I have no intention as a prime minister of the country, the head of the government, of leaving CARICOM. So there's always some mischief there. What I did say on the page is we must also look at others. We have to look at others in the international arena. So, for example, we are looking to the UAE, we are looking to Qatar, looking to Bahrain, we are looking to Europe. We cannot keep closed doors and expect things to change. So CARICOM will remain as a bloc, we will remain as part of the bloc, but we have to open our wings, we have to fly, we have to go elsewhere, we have to get investors. CARICOM may have investors, but we need investors just as we do. You know, Trinidad and Tobago is the only CARICOM state that still has investment grade ratings. Trinidad and Tobago, if Trinidad falls, many of our countries economic crisis. We are the only CARICOM country right now with investment grade rating. That's a very important factor. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for investment to develop Trinidad, to develop Tobago, to grow others to grow CARICOM as well. We have our banks in this way, we have a lot of our manufacturers shipping things out to other members of the CARICOM. We have to rise, float together, and rise up together. So no mischief. We have no intention of leaving CARICOM. What we do have are differences in opinion. And we all, as human beings, always have at times differences in opinion. And that has happened in the past and will happen again. So I reaffirm, commit, this country has no intention, no point in withdrawing from the CARICOM.
Are you concerned at the tensions between Venezuela and the U.S. with probably with Tobago tourism? Is that a concern of yours?
Not at this time. We have no evidence or information that is the case. Continue to monitor it. When I say we, where we are, out in South Africa, closest to Venezuela, I have no evidence or intelligence or information that those tensions will damage. I think President Trump has recently said he doesn't intend to hit the ground in Venezuela. Back again, narco traffickers, gun runners, human traffickers, those are our targets, keep in mind. And if President Trump has the wherewithal, which we don't have, we do not have it, they have what is needed. Go ahead, so here.
Does Trinidad plan to look at the issue of boosting Tobago's tourism, especially as the country is in a state of emergency, and perhaps an impact of how that would impact the tourism product here in the country?
I have no evidence of that. I have no evidence of your carnival recently. There's 40,000 people jumping up here in carnival, and people worrying about rumors of war. I don't see the impact. I don't have the evidence. I have the intelligence that brings this kind of thing.
The airport, I was hoping to hear something about the airport.
Where will be Newport? Mr. John is here. Newport.
Has it been handed over?
No, John.
Just one question from our class is about the detention center. People are saying that...
Which detention center?
The one that people under the SUE who have been arrested are being kept.
There are more than one. To my knowledge.
But I think the issue is that people have been there for the past 3 or more months without an investigation thing. Many people are the detention centers. Is this true?
The details in terms of the numbers. When this is here, we have to but that's what it is. Working within the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, working within the law of the land, therefore concerns about the persons who will be on government. Everybody about it. We know it. Invented detention orders. I'm sure nobody asked me. So I can be there to give an answer. You asked me what about the detention center? What about it?
concerns that people who were arrested over 3 months ago are still there and there are no investigations happening.
All of the state of things, one of the greatest things is we don't have a curfew. So people are freely moving about, going about their business, coming to Tobago, to the beach, coming to jump up to carnival. People are free. And secondly, your rights will remain. You can apply, you have a tribunal in law that you can go to. So if you've been there, you say 2 months, you can go to a tribunal. So you have access to justice and law within the walls of the detention centers. You can go to the tribunal. And if that's facing to court, I think some have gone to the court and the judges, I don't think they should. They look at that law and they have rejected cases. So people are not left without a remedy. It is not that you're stuck on Peter and you're better in jail and forget you have to feel and slow. You have access to justice for your rights.
When is your first cabinet meeting expected to be in Tobago?
First cabinet meeting, when I know of it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister.
Earlier today, Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar paid a courtesy call to the Honorable Farley Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly at the Hochoy Charles Administrative Complex, a gesture that further strengthened the unity and collaboration between both islands. Now, during her address at today's special sitting in the Tobago House of Assembly's legislature, the Prime Minister shared that she felt the Tobago warmth the moment she arrived, calling the visit a new dawn and reaffirmation of Tobago's development. She said she was reminded why she entered public service, to build a better nation for children. The Prime Minister emphasized renewed trust and appreciation between the central government and the Tobago House of Assembly following purposeful discussions with the Chief Secretary. She reaffirmed that autonomy does not mean separation, but rather granting Tobago legislative and executive control within a united nation. The Prime Minister declared that Tobago's cause remains a national cause and that Trinidad and Tobago must always stand side by side, not one over the other. She pledged to be a partner who listens with respect, learns with humility, and acts with purpose, and presented a special document, an export license for the Studley Park Quarry, to Chief Secretary of Tobago, the Honorable Farley Augustine, enabling the Studley Park Enterprise Limited to generate more revenue for Tobago. Today's proceedings reflected a renewed spirit of partnership, respect, and shared purpose between Trinidad and Tobago as the country continues advancing national development together. And viewers, you have just witnessed the special sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly live at the Assembly Legislature located at Jerningham Street in Scarborough, Tobago, where the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago addressed the chamber. We thank you so much for joining us and do have an enjoyable afternoon.